Now, joining me now is Rupa Huq, who is a Labour MP. Thank you very much for being here on the show. So much for us to get through. What the last 24 hours, by the minute, exactly. We've seen Andrea Leadsom has resigned. Hearing that Philip Hammond just walked in to 10 Downing Street in the last few minutes, just before we came on air. How do you see the next 24 hours play out? Because it's clear that Theresa May is in a very delicate position.
Yeah, I think Theresa May has actually been on life support for quite a long time, and her cabinet seems to change on a weekly basis as it is. I mean, the faces who are there now are not the same ones who were there in January, not the same ones who were there, you know, even a month ago. And it feels like her cabinet at the moment is, I mean, we've seen Leadsom has gone in the last half hour, is a kind of collection of different leadership bids.
Yes.
And so every time any of them makes a speech, everyone is poring over that for the significance of their prime ministerial
position.
Yeah, their sort of launch into the fray. And even before the starting gun was fired, they were all on manoeuvres. And, you know, it's an old song by Joy Division. She's lost control.
And so she, at the moment, she's prime minister. She has the new bold Brexit plan she wants to put. I know you're rolling your eyes, but this is what she's calling it. Would you support it? Would you back it?
Certainly not. And I think it was very bold of her to bring back essentially the same thing, but with none of the two changes that would have made it palatable to Labour MPs. Had we had a permanent and full customs union, and had we had, even more importantly, a confirmatory referendum attached to it.
But you're going to have a chance of a second referendum.
Well, I mean, that's a chance of a vote. Does she think we're stupid or something? I had half an hour with Theresa May on April the 4th, so at the very beginning of these cross-party talks, in number 10, and I could sense from then that she wasn't in a mood for budging. I think her problem is she boxed herself in very early. I think it was January 2017, when she set her parameters, and then there's been no room for manoeuvre.
But she said she's made consensus. She said she has done what she can from her side. She's giving, she's putting on the table the second potential for a second referendum,
I mean, we could have had
a temporary customs union. Do you think that puts more pressure on Labour to try and meet her halfway?
I think that she's actually offered nothing new. So we would have been in a 2-year transition period with a temporary customs arrangement anyway. And we wanted to... I mean, I said to her that I would vote for her deal, which would be a big climb down for me, a big eating of words, because all my election literature said I'll never... My seat is 71% Remain. I'll never support any withdrawal agreement. But I said I would if it had attached to it a confirmatory referendum. So that is actually on the terms of a deal that we have. Back in 2016, it was Leave Remain, it was all abstract.
But that would very much go against her own party, isn't it? And that's...
I mean, the thing is, I think that's a kind of midway, because you've got people hardening all over the place. You have people who want to leave actually wanting no deal, which every government assessment has shown for every sector of the economy and every region of the nation would be really, really damaging. We've seen already this week British Steel has gone. So many of these
companies... story we're covering here on the show,
Honda in Swindon, lots of banks, even in London, whole bits of them, whole banks moved out. So, I mean, people, that would be really dangerous. At the same time, people want to revoke. Lots of people where I live, 6 million people, remember, have signed a petition, not even for a confirmatory vote, but just to completely call the whole thing off. So a midway thing would be to offer a tangible proposal to voters and say, do you want it?
Well, clearly she's not going to go... It's clearly she's not going to change that, and she's staying at Downing Street. But let me ask you very quickly, if she did step down, how does that favour Labour in any way?
I mean, we've got these elections tomorrow. It's not a good look to have cabinet resignations on the eve of elections. I mean, I fear that the next person will be even worse. And
Boris? What would Boris mean?
A lot of these people who are entertaining the idea of no deal, really, because they're flirting with the Conservative membership. They know that their small rump of members are very hardcore, much to the right of normal people. And I think we've had this absurdly stubborn Prime Minister who's victim of her own red lines. She boxed herself in, you know, in some senses, being a bloody difficult woman. That was her strength, that she sticks to her guns, but it becomes a liability after a while, and that's what's happened here.
Yeah, but if we do then have a change, if you then have a Brexit here, then Labour's problems become much more difficult.
I feel, I mean, this whole thing has been an exercise in keeping the Conservative Party together and not looking at what is good for our country.
Rupa Huq, thank you very much for coming in. Thank you.